Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? We're so glad you're here tonight. It's a big deal. I forgot how much of a big deal it was until Leo Rodriguez reminded me. Tonight is our 300th episode. 300. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness. I was just talking with Leo. So that's, I guess, almost 5 years. Yeah, a little over 5 years or something like that. I don't know. But our anniversary show will be in July 18th, 2018 was our first show. But anyway, so tonight is our 300th show. And we're on a roll lately with songwriters. And we're not going to stop. Tonight we have an amazing, amazing guest. An incredible songwriter who has been at this for a really long time. Talk about longevity in this career, in this business. Harriet Schock, ladies and gentlemen. Hit it, Leo!
It's my love. The day's spring and the night's long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. I'm as woman as I wanna be. Who I am, who I am, who I am.
So we are so glad. Oh, what's that, Leo? Leo is showing a blast from the past.
A blast from the past. Let me make sure I can get the sign on from 300 episodes ago. Look at that.
Oh my God.
That was a horn.
Let me tell you what that was. So, let me lower this. I just shared it to Harriet's page as well. So that was our very first show. Hi, everybody. This is Maria from What's the Story?
The first one.
And this is our first show, our launch show, our maiden voyage. So I want to thank Armed Radio and Joe Rocks. Thanks, Joe Rocks. And thank you, Jimmy, who's the producer tonight, who helped me get on all this tech stuff that I'm not so good with, and he was really great about it. So thanks, Jimmy. So we are broadcasting. Oh, all right. Now, there he is. I heard him.
Oh, me. You and me.
Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Leo. That was our very first episode, 300 episodes ago. Tonight is 300. So 299 episodes ago, and we are so happy that we're still here. We made it through all kinds of stuff, and then Leo, who used to type in all this information during COVID, instead of people being live in the studio, we went remote using StreamYard, thanks to
Chris Shapiro,
who was our first guest. He was also like my tech guy that knew everything.
You're a brother from another mother.
That's right. So we did that, and then Leo took over with our StreamYard, and we've been doing this ever since, and it works beautifully because we can Zoom people in from all over the country, which is incredible because tonight our guest, Harriet Schock, is Zooming in from Los Angeles. So how cool is that? Now, I do want to mention also that Laurie Towers, our amazing friend Laurie Towers, is going to piggyback on that and join us around 9:40 when Harriet zooms out, because Harriet not only is on our show tonight, she's also teaching a class. I mean, come on.
Busy woman.
Very busy. And so we're so lucky to have her, but I really wanted to get her on this week before, because there's a big night coming up in New York City this Monday night, which does involve Harriet's music as well. So I wanted to get Harriet on before all that happened. Let's say hi to some of our guests. What do you think, Leo?
Oh my goodness, they're piling in.
They are piling in our regulars. So Danielle wins the award for first one in. First one in, Danielle from D's Enlightened Edits. She is a spiritual medium, a card reader, a teacher, a guide. She did my quantum session, which blew my mind. This was a while back. I highly recommend the quantum session if you have people that are on the other side that you miss and you want to talk to again. It's incredible. It's pretty incredible. And then for my birthday, I just recently had the mini spirit animal reading. Mind blowing. And I gave
love
it
that you have two animals that are representative of the Gemini.
How crazy is that? And now I'm seeing them everywhere. So I highly recommend that you go to, there you are, Leo, you are so on the ball. DAMCL Designs, Damsel Designs. Leo is modeling the damsel. D's Enlightened Edits at Instagram. She also does a little show where she does readings and talks about all kinds of amazing things. I listen to Danielle all the time.
You know that her voice is also, we've talked about this, but through her voice, because she is a vessel, there are also healing properties when you're listening to her channels and to the readings and to the discussions.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone to go. I love when I get to talk with Danielle, when we talk as friends and we just get to hobble back and forth. It's fun. It's comforting. She's a great person.
Comforting is the best word. Absolutely.
And she's also respectable that she knows, we talked about this before, the Akashic files, so to speak, that she may have, which are they talk about your past through many different histories and lives that remember, according to some, if you believe, we are just souls, spirit with bodies.
Yeah, our bodies are just containers for our souls.
Mm-hmm,
I've believed that for a long, long time. And Danielle's your girl, so go and check it out. Leo is, yes, he is wonderful. So go and check out Danielle. I can't say enough about her. All right, so we have Jared Mijares, who is our friend Jared Felipe, who's an amazing singer. He also has a YouTube channel called Life in Plastic, which is amazing.
He must be so happy with the movie that's out or coming out right now.
The Barbie movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Rena Corneli-Berge, my cousin from Massachusetts.
Weather girl.
And as Leo calls her, Weather Girl. Hello and happy Tuesday. Hello. Edward Oslander. We love Harriet Schock. Well, then we love you, Edward. Sean Patrick Murtong, who we love, who is doing a show. Sean, please type in when your show is. It's called Beautiful Girls, and it promises to be delightful, as all his stuff is. And he's moving back, so it's going to be his last New York show. So you want to catch Sean before he moves back to the West Coast. Laurie Towers has joined us. Go, Harriet. Love you guys. We love you too, Laurie. And then we're going to zoom in Laurie at about 9:40 so she can fill us in on more things that are happening. Thank you, Jared. Let me see what else we have. Victor Flores, my great friend and also the executive chef to Joe Allen, to Orso, and to Bar Centrale. We are going to get him on ASAP. He's super busy. Harry Brownstone, the Harry Brownstone has joined us. Harry Brownstone has... Harvey, thank you so much. I'm looking and my eyes are all fuzzy. Harvey Brownstone is going to be at the Stonewall Inn this Monday coming up, June 5th. So Laurie's going to talk about that. He is also an incredible interviewer and so many other things. So we're going to talk about that the second half of our show.
We have a birthday shout out to give as well today.
Go ahead. For Jeffrey? Oh my God, is it Lucas's birthday? Lucas Ferdland, our friend from the Oakland Ballet, he has moved back to the city because the season is over. He's also Mr. May in our Nothing But the Apron, What's the Story with Maria calendar. He is our Mr. May. How about that extension?
I got 2 more days of my Lucas, and then it's on to Party Girl.
Party Girl, Lavinia Draper is our June girl. That's right. All right, so let me just look at this for a second because, we have it running on 2 pages. Kristen Pure has joined us. Andy Prasky has joined us. Hi, Andy Prasky. And a bunch of other people. So,
Kristen Pure, he returned Homecoming from his first episode.
Wasn't that beautiful? I'm telling you, he's in my back pocket. And my brother from another mother, Krista Puro, amazing guy.
He's one of the sweetest men that you know.
Yes,
I totally love.
And I know a lot of. Yes, and a filmmaker, and so many different things.
Talented.
Okay, so we don't want to go on too long because we want to bring in our first guest. She has been at this game of business, of creating and putting amazing things out into the world for decade after decade after decade. She writes with courage and grace and honesty, and lucky for us, she wrote this book. She has a movie coming out, a documentary about her life. It's called Hollywood Town. So that should be coming out soon, and we're going to talk about that. She also has songs that she wrote a long time ago that are being resurrected in this in a slightly different way by Gary Lynn Floyd, who is made an entire album of her songs. And you have heard her songs over and over and over again. And now you know who the writer behind all those great songs is. Ladies and gentlemen, and Leo, can we bring on Harriet Schock?
Thank you. Thank you, Maria and Leo. And now is the time my cat decided to jump up in my lap, so that's what I've got here. So.
Of course. Oh, she's adorable.
Well, you know, he knows when the cameras are on, so he's such a ham.
Listen, my dog does the same thing, and any minute, my dog Rizzo may appear. So we understand.
Maybe they can meet.
Adorable.
What a cute cat.
His name is Jesse, and he was named after, there were 3 of them found under a house, and they named him after the characters in Breaking Bad. So Tyler and I got Jesse.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Leo has 2 cats as well. So, and I have a dog. We love animals. This is an animal-friendly show.
Well, you live in Palm Springs. It's awful hard when you have a dog because their little feet on the pavement, you know, it's so hard to walk them.
Yeah.
Actually, I live in the mountains right above it, so I have to worry about coyotes as well for my little baby. They stay inside.
So does he, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Harriet, when we talked on the phone the other day, I heard your accent, and I said, she was not born in L.A. This young lady is from somewhere else, hails from somewhere else first.
True. I'm from Dallas.
Wonderful.
And, you know, the first time I performed for the industry, they put me at the Troubadour opening for Waylon Jennings because they heard me talk, but they obviously didn't hear my music.
That's fantastic.
It was a lot of fun.
So how old were you then?
Oh, probably, 20. But
Okay. How amazing is that? So you started out in Dallas, so that part of the country, and I'm assuming that you probably mostly listened to country, or did you listen to a lot of...
No, I never listened to country. When my best friend, who owned a ranch,
Wow.
had country on the radio, I would roll up my window for fear the next car over would think I was listening to it. I don't feel that way anymore. I think really the best writers in the country probably live in Nashville, but I grew up on, Ray Charles. That's as close to country as I ever got.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. But you do on Spotify have an album that is a Nashville album, right?
Well, okay, I signed a deal with a company that puts songs in films.
Oh, okay.
So they made a country album called Straight Outta Nashville of my songs.
Oh, wow.
But those were mostly the country demos of the songs. They weren't my records.
Okay, so let's talk about this, what Leo is scrolling now. Yeah, so go ahead, Leo. Scroll it back down so we can see Helen Reddy. There she is. She's going the other way. Okay, great. Okay,
That's
so...
the album cover, No Way to Treat a Lady album cover.
And who wrote that song?
Well, I wrote Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, and they named the album after it, but it wasn't the first single. The first single was something else, and then the radio station started playing Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, and her husband manager at the time, Jeff Wall, called me in Dallas and said, it looks like you have a hit. They're going on the album cut of your song,
That is fantastic. But you also had this, you had the song out first, right?
Well, yeah, it was on my Hollywood Town album, and she heard it on the radio. She admitted that's how she heard it. She heard it on the radio. And then she also recorded my song Mama, but on a later album.
Wow. That's fun. Did you ever get to meet her, or was it mostly...
Oh, yes. She had me on the Midnight Special when she guest hosted it, and she was very kind to me.
Oh, how wonderful. That's a great story. So that would be like when that song is mentioned, people automatically recognize it. They're like, wait a minute, you remember where you were, you remember what we all wore back then, what was happening. That was a real, and it was a very much a female empowerment time. I think
Yes.
socially we were shifting in that direction.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but because it came out after I Am Woman, people associated it with that. Really, basically, it was a love song.
Yeah.
You know, but it's interesting when Gary sings the male version on his album. It's like the apology every woman wanted to hear.
Wow, I can't wait. Now Gary's album is being released on June 5th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Monday night, when Harvey Brownstone is being honored, he is having Gary sing the song I wrote for Harvey.
Wow.
See, it all happened because Tom Solari decided to make a movie called Hollywood Town, the Harriet Schock story. And one of the perks to get people to contribute was, Harriet will write a song for you. So, bless his heart, Harvey Brownstone got that perk. And I interviewed him, and his story was so inspiring, there was no way I wasn't going to write that song. So I wrote I Am Yours, and Harvey liked it, and I said, you know, Harvey, since this is a man's story, I'm going to have a man sing it, even though I sang it on this show, and I'm singing it on my album. But I had Gary Lynn Floyd do the demo. Wow. So then he had Gary on his show. And live, he said to him, you know, you should do an album of her songs. And it's a good thing Gary liked the idea, because I would have really been embarrassed if he had said, oh, I don't want to do that. So anyway, he did a whole album, and that's what is coming out Monday night, along with Harvey's being honored. And so Gary is flying to New York. He's going to sing I Am Yours live, and the male version of Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, and a song I wrote for, I don't want to get into too much of it and give too much away, but, you know, there's a man named Jim Keaton. I wrote a song for him as well. That song is called Because You Lived. And it's a love story from him to Helen Reddy, who answered a letter he wrote when he was on the verge of suicide.
Wow.
And answered him. He tracked her down through a night watchman at Capitol Records. It's an amazing story. She answered it. They became best friends her entire career. He ran her fan club. And, you know, and so he also went into his own career of crisis hotline. So he answers people's call for help just as she answered his.
That's just amazing. What a beautiful story.
Yeah, so Gary's going to sing that song too, and Jill's flying in.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. Yeah. I love that. And I did get to hear on your website the Harvey Brownstone inspired song, which was so beautiful and so moving, and it's true. It's, you know, so that's going to be great. I mean, I'm just very much looking forward to Monday night. That's going to be great. And so, Harriet, I know you also teach, which, by the way, tonight you're going to be teaching after this, which is... I
think some of my Tuesday night students they were made aware of this, so they may be on here. But yeah, I teach songwriting, and I have since 1986.
Wow. And now you're doing it via Zoom, right? Which is so great. So people all over the country and the world can take your class.
Yeah, I have people in Austria and England and everything. So it used to be around my dining room table, but that kind of gets difficult when you're so far away.
Yeah, but you know what? In a lot of ways, the world has expanded because we couldn't leave the house. We expanded in a weird way.
That's
true. There are some silver linings, and I feel like something like your class is it's a silver lining for sure. You know, that you can reach people. And how long are your classes?
Well, they're 10 weeks for 3 hours a week.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and then I teach privately, and I teach on Zoom privately, but I have 3 classes, Monday night, Tuesday night, which is too late for the people in Europe and the East Coast. So I have a Thursday afternoon class. For me, it's Thursday afternoon, but my Austrian student, it's right before she goes to bed.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and I love that. No, I during COVID, I was teaching an Express Yourself class for kids. And one of my students was from England. So I would start the class at 4, and it was 9 for him, 9 p.m., right before he went to bed. But so I love that. I love that lots of people have access to all of that. So now, so many questions I want to ask you, but are you someone that just always continued to write? Did you ever take a break and do something else, or
I don't take breaks.
I love that.
My careers are like my closet. I still have everything from that I had, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But I keep adding new stuff, which makes, my life and my closet a little crowded. But I love everything. I don't want to give anything up. So the one thing I don't do as much anymore is, like, my book was a series of articles I wrote. Then I wrote another series of articles. I haven't done that recently, but that's the only thing I've let go of.
Yeah, what's your sign, if you don't mind me asking? Are you a Gemini?
No, but my father was a Gemini, and when I heard you were Gemini, I thought, what is her birthday? His is June 13th.
Oh, well, that's a very big day for Italians. It's St. Anthony's birthday.
Oh, really?
It is one of the most spiritual and beautiful days for an Italian family.
Well, that sounds good. We're
It's a
pretty
good
much
thing.
German on all sides, but, I'm an Aquarius. I was born on January 24th.
Okay, the reason I asked is because you seem to have lots of things going on at the same time, and the fact that you said I don't stop doing it, I just keep doing that's very much a Gemini quality. But Aquarians are so cerebral; they have so much knowledge. My dad is an Aquarius, so.
Oh, really? Mine was a Gemini.
You see, okay, so it's flipped a little bit. And are you someone that keeps a journal as a writer? Do you write little ideas down? Or?
I do. I do, and I encourage other people to do it. But I don't do it regularly. I don't do the, like I had a horrible day and I really hate someone. No, if I see something that inspires me, I'll make a note of it.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I do.
Yeah, I love that.
But,
okay. So now the album, go ahead. You were going to say something? Yes.
I have a question, Terry. You were talking about you don't like to throw out a lot of things. I know a lot of songwriters, performers that their early songs, they just, I don't even hear it anymore. I don't want to, because I always think it's important so you can see where your journey was. And, people always like your original songs. How do you feel about that kind of?
Are you talking about, do I keep old songs or do I?
That you've written,
Well, I'm fortunate that the first album I ever made had a lot of people were covering stuff. The Partridge Family, Helen Reddy, Manfred Mann, all these people were covering it. So I don't think anyone ever heard the songs I wrote before that album, and I don't even know where they are now. But from that album on, I've been fortunate, yeah.
And do you enjoy hearing, obviously your songs are done a little bit differently by everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever listen to something that you've written and someone else is doing and think, wow, I hear it completely differently now?
Yes, Letta Mbulu, who sang in Roots and everything, she did an Africa, she sang the verses of Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady in Afrikaans, and it was so, it was produced by, A&M Records, what's his name? You know who I mean. I'll think of it. Anyway, it was brilliant. I never would have thought of it. When I heard it at A&M and I heard her singing the verses in African, I just burst into tears.
Wow.
That was quite a surprise. But
you reached across the world.
Like, so different, like a cabaret singer might sing it so differently. I think, I would never have thought of that. But
right.
I'm always very happy.
Yeah, well, because cabaret singers tend to be storytellers more. You know, we had Amanda McBroom on the show, and she said,
she's a friend.
Isn't she beautiful? She's so wonderful. I mean, what a great show that was. And when she said that to her songs are monologues with music, and that's the way she approaches it.
Yeah, I can imagine. She writes words and music, and then sometimes she'll write with Michelle Browerman. She's such a wonderful writer. By the way, the producer of Let 'Em Boo was Herb Alpert.
Oh, wow.
The guy who started A&M, Herb Alpert.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? Think about the amount of time that you have been serving the music community and how many people you've come in contact with. That's a lot of information, and how much has changed and all that stuff. I just finished an amazing book, which I highly recommend. It is Quincy Jones wrote a book called 12 Notes.
Oh, I read it. I listened to it.
Me too.
My God, it was so good.
Wasn't it wonderful and inspiring? Yes. But as he was talking about his journey as a musician, and then to become an arranger and a producer, I thought, wow, has he covered a lot of time?
I know.
And so to remember all that, there's a lot of people that come in and out of your life, so wow, Herb Alpert, that's amazing. Now, where do you see, I should say, do you feel songs coming in for the future, or do you have enough songs to rest and use for the rest of your life that you've already written?
Songwriters write songs. I don't expect to come to a point where I think, I have enough songs now, I'll become a plumber. When people say, are you still writing songs? I think, no, I've become an architect. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you something.
We will never reach that point.
The difference between those of us that are creative, and especially musicians, and the rest of the world is that we don't retire. People, I know people that I went to school with that are retiring now.
I know.
And I'm like, what, which is great, good for them. But when people ask us if we're retiring, we don't retire.
Well, let me tell you, Maria, if I were an insurance salesman, I would so be retiring right now.
Right, exactly.
But I can understand if you've worked a day job your whole life that you might want to. But like Desi Arnaz said, when they said, what is the secret to success? He said, live long enough.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know a lot of people, but I've been doing it for a long time, so that's the reason.
I love that. Now, speaking of which, let's talk about your documentary. Okay, so you tell us what you, I know it's coming out soon.
As a matter of fact, Tom Solari, who created the idea and raised the funds and everything, just called me today and said, let's get together Sunday and look at what I have so far. So wow. He's edited enough that I can see something. So that's amazing if you think about it. And it's such a huge job. He interviewed all these people, and he shot a 2-hour concert with my whole band and me with 5 cameras. Wow. And he's trying to put all that together and tell a story. I don't envy him, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's hard work. One of our listeners that listens every week, Andy Prasky, is a filmmaker and a documentarian. And also, he was talking, he's been on the show a few times, and talking about the editing process and how challenging that process is, but how important it is. So for him to take that, I love it. So he's gotten interviews, he has footage of a concert, and he's piecing it together. Wow.
He did it because he was at one of my shows, and he thought, I'd like for more people to know about this. And so, bless his heart, it's really magical that he has put this together. And it's mostly about the songs. It's not really my life story and some tragedy that I survived. It's not one of those. It's I'm a songwriter. I'm a singer-songwriter.
It's the story of the songs. Yeah, I love that. It's called Hollywood Town. And as soon as it's released, Harriet, I hope that you'll let us know about it so we can.
Oh, definitely. It's Hollywood Town, the Harriet Schock story, because Hollywood Town was the title of my first album, so he named it after that.
I love it. And you have 6 albums, is that correct, or more?
I have 8. I'm working on my 8th album.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
Not counting that thing you saw that was country songs. That's not one of my albums.
Okay, because I saw it listed on Spotify and I hadn't seen it before.
I know.
I thought, yeah, because I really like your website. It's very thorough.
Yes, Randall Michael Tobin made that website. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And that's what I was looking at. And then tonight, while I was getting ready, I popped Spotify on. I said, let me see what they have for Harriet. And then I saw the Nashville. So I thought, I didn't see this album before. But it's interesting how they will group things together.
Well, they're my songs, so they just got confused.
Yeah, but they're your songs,
Yeah.
so that is a big deal. And that's why I asked you about the influence of country music as growing up in Texas. I thought, well, maybe that, but your other stuff is not necessarily country at all. It's pop.
No, it's not. Yeah. I mean, it's country in that it tells a story that you can understand, and it has a melody you can sing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't have a twang, and it's
no.
Parts are rarely mentioned.
Yeah. Now let me just some of our guests that have joined us tonight. Let me just we've looked at this page, but also I'm looking at another page. Michael Vaccaro, who's an amazing actor. He's out in the LA area, and he's in everything. John Savino, my cousin in Massachusetts, who I know is a huge music lover. Teresa Sario is watching. Rick Khalif is watching from New York. Aaron Lee Battle, an amazing New York singer. Amazing. Cabaret singer. Lynn Culpepper is watching. Hector Garcia is watching in Miami. So we got people all over the place. And Sean Patrick Murtaugh, to answer your question, yes, you can be a calendar boy. Harriet, I have a calendar called the Nothing But the Apron calendar. Yes, and what it is because we have merchandise, of course, and one of them is an apron because I love to cook. And one of our guests, Michael Vaccaro, as a matter of fact, that had popped on one night, bought an apron and took a picture of himself with nothing on but the apron and posted it on Instagram. Well, a flurry of naked men in aprons happened after that. And there's one of them. So now we put them in calendars. So
I love it.
It's fantastic and it's fun. So yes, absolutely, Sean, you can be one of our calendar boys.
That's hilarious.
Pick a month, and believe it or not, half of the next year is already spoken for. But you will have a place in that apron. So get your nakedness ready, and here we go. All right. So Harriet, when you work with students teaching songwriting, have you ever had students that have never written a song at all before, or do you have to have some kind of...
I have, but it's interesting because most of my students are very experienced, and they're even more thrilled to get these steps because it exercises every muscle of songwriting 1 a week until they have a way of writing a song beginning to end that makes every part of the process easier and makes the muscles stronger. Now, if you've never written a song, I don't have any bad habits to break. Right. So those people end up with a song that's better than some people who've written for 10 years, but they don't appreciate the system because they've never tried it without it. Right. So I like having, experienced people. Let me ask you, Maria, did you see that question the woman asked about, I would like to know if you ever woken up and written a song that came to you in a dream?
Well, I didn't see that question, but how wonderful that you did. Go ahead and answer it.
Well, I haven't awakened in the morning with, like yesterday in my mind, like Paul McCartney did, but I have started a nap, and, Quincy talks about this. He has his entire team writing when they're half asleep because there's something wonderful about when those waves take over. But I woke up from the nap and I had the first 4 lines of a song, which is on my new album called My Now. And I just got the pictures of a lake from my childhood, and I got the whole thing. I didn't have the melody, but I did have the words. And that's the only time that's ever happened to me. But I've tried taking naps ever since, but it's never happened but once.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about that process. I just recently heard someone, or read it in an article somewhere, I can't place where it was, but that is exactly the way this particular person wrote, in that half dream state, and kept a journal by their bed. Now, Andy Prasky asked, how did dance, but by the way, I love that song. It's so beautiful.
I have to say that one of my students, Ron Troutman, was in my class, and he was developing that lyric. And I helped him. Well, my relationship with my father was very positive. He had something that wasn't quite as positive, so I asked him to make it more positive, and we kind of shaped the very last part of it. And then I said, I want to write the melody.
Wow.
He wasn't sure he wanted me to, but after I wrote it, he decided that was okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's an important song in my catalog. Thank you for asking about that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song. I mean, so many of the songs are beautiful, but that is definitely it was a standout for me as well. And Danielle says, I love that. Yes, I found that brainwaves around that time make people much more conducive to channeling and creating. Thank you so much for answering. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their process. Like some people that like Broadway show writers, sometimes they will rent a cabin in the woods and go away by themselves and won't let themselves out until they have written it. Elton John and Bernie Taupin used to do that. They used to go away for the weekend together and say, we're not returning without a full album. They would write the entire album together.
Yeah, well, Bernie wrote the lyrics first,
Yes, that I know.
Yeah. But I did write a musical with Diane Ladd. I want to mention it in case she's listening. She wrote this wonderful play, and she came to me, and I wrote the songs, and, we're still trying to get it up and out. But we went to the Actors Studio in New York and put it on its feet for a minute.
That's fantastic.
But it was wonderful working with her. She's such a wonderful person and writer and actress.
Well, what I'm hearing from you is that that you are able to and enjoy writing with different people.
Well, I rarely collaborate on songs, except during the 80s when I was signed to Joe Beck, which is Motown's publishing company, with someone else, an Israeli composer named Misha Siegel, who's wonderful, and I wrote a lot of songs with him. He would write the melody first, and then I would write the lyrics. And we wrote songs for film and TV shows. The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking, which a lot of people grew up with, and children come up to me and sing the song. And, well, Jakers, I didn't write with him, but yeah, Pippi Longstocking and The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, and a lot of projects. The Secret Garden. Misha Siegel is a wonderful composer. He didn't write that, but he is, it's wonderful to write with him. But most of the time, and all the songs on my new album and most of my albums, I write by myself. It's just easier because I know what I need.
Yeah, and you're right there. You're a one-woman show, so you can do it. Some people prefer to write with other people, but I find it so encouraging when people do collaborate, because I feel like you're open to it.
Oh yeah,
and I love that.
Something you'd never write otherwise.
Right, and I agree 100%. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you. I always ask this of my guests because this is a show about creativity, and I always say that the reality of living, thriving, and surviving as a creative person, and you demonstrate that wholeheartedly. So what would you leave our guests, the listeners and viewers, with something encouraging about staying creative?
Well, first of all, I have a band I absolutely love. It's cello, violin, flute, bass, and I play piano. And when we arrange the things, it's such a creative collaboration. But what I feel about creativity is, if you can help someone do something that makes them feel more creative, then that's a creative act in and of itself. Some people have creative lives. Their lives are creative. You know, they cook. You're a cook. I love to cook too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they decorate. Whatever it is, creativity just comes out of you. And if you can affect someone's life for the better, that is a creative act. So I feel that way about my band. I feel that way about my friends, my family, and certainly my students. I love the fact that it makes them happy to write songs. I get people who are like, have left a job and finally have all this time, and the first song they write, they look 10 years younger. You know? Yes. They should never have stopped it, but you can't stop people, you know, when they have families to support and stuff like that. But anyway, I guess my feeling is, if you want to be creative, be open to communicate, because creativity is a communication. I love that. So be willing to communicate your very deepest thoughts, and then have the craft to do it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Harriet. It's been so nice spending time with you. And I really mean this. I hope that you will come back and visit and tell us more about what's happening, because there's always something happening in your world. And we really appreciate that you took the time to join us tonight. And we're going to let you go and teach your class. I don't want you to be late, and I've already kept you longer than I should have. But I didn't want to stop talking, so.
No, I enjoyed it so very much, and have a wonderful time Monday. I so wish I could be there. But
yeah, we'll take lots of pictures and all that stuff, and we'll send a report your way.
All right, that sounds great.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, put your hands together for Harriet Schock, amazing songwriter, sweetheart of a human being, and incredible teacher, and many, many, many other things. Creative being out in the world. Thank you, Harriet, for everything that you do and all your contributions. We appreciate you so much. Yay.
Bye, Maria.
Bye, sweetheart. And bye to your little kitten.
On my lap the whole time.
Okay, so that is, wow, that's where we're at. I didn't want to stop talking to Harriet, but, you know, I love it that she was nice enough to join us, and she's teaching a class in like 10 minutes. I mean, how great is that? So, let's just catch up with our guests. Chris Colacho has joined us. Michael Bowe has joined us. Everyone else I mentioned before, still there. And Laurie Towers is going to join us. Why don't we just bring her on? Laurie Towers is not just an incredible bass player. Leo, I'm going to have you describe Laurie, because
Laurie is not in the green room yet.
Because you were then we can do our food section.
Oh, okay.
Okay, did you? And I think she has the. Just want to make sure she has the link.
Yep, she was in the room.
Okay, good. So she knows all about it. All right. So let's do the food section of our show now. As the lovely Harriet Schock was saying, I cook. Thank you, Harriet, for introducing that part of me. I do cook. I like to stay creative. I love to cook. And every week I cook, because if I'm going to ask other people to be creative, come and bear their creative souls, I must challenge myself weekly. So what did I make? Hold on a second. Now, I am eating pasta this week. I know, Leo. So what did I make here?
Hold on. We can't do this alone. You know, we need to have everybody in for this.
Oh my God, there they are.
If I left them out of the food section, I would get in trouble tomorrow night.
All right, we'll do this really quickly because we have so much to cover. Really quickly. Our food section of the show, I made farfalle and penne because I had a half a box of each. God forbid I waste anything. And then I have, of course, garlic. I have rosemary oil. I have oil infused with rosemary, cumin, peas, chicken, and mushrooms, and a little bit of butter. So that's what I'm having tonight. And then for Memorial Day, I made a red white and blue salad. What do I have for red? Yes, thank you. I have red leaf lettuce. For blue, I have the blue cheese. Yep. And here's your cue. I have hothouse cucumbers because it is summertime. And then I also put hot honey, Mike's hot honey, drizzled on there for a little, for a little kick.
No.
And yes. And I have a blueberry balsamic vinaigrette. I'm going to put on that with just a plain extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm not
Doesn't she
worthy.
do the same thing with drinks? Doesn't she do the same thing with drinks?
I'm not worthy. I'm just not worthy. After Harriet and this, I just want to
I know. And then for dessert, Bill Goffey, our friend, made me a biscotti, which I love. And my favorite, he makes many different varieties. And also, folks, he'll make them and mail them to you if you want to buy some. And this is raisins and caraway seeds.
Bill's Biscotti. Should be.
I know you've been saying that forever, and I think it's a great idea. Let's waste no more time.
Look at
this
that.
is Mr. and Mrs. November. John and Laurie. Look, I love the art direction on this. November. I love it. So, Laurie, I was talking. Oh, there's John's there too. Hi, John.
Yeah. He's holding the sign. Wait a second. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
See it?
So that's Harvey Brown's
that's beautiful.
That's handsome Harvey. Wait a second. Bring it back, baby. Bring it back.
Handsome Harvey.
This is gorgeous Gary.
Oh my God!
Right here. I can see them.
Wow! And they are.
That's the sun that's going up.
They are holding up the stone wall in with their gorgeousness there.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to this.
So let's talk about this Monday night. We got big happenings at the
Oh my God. You know, I don't want to give too much away because there's so many things sprouting up at the last minute. But I like to think of this as not only bringing Harvey in front of the American eyes, it's kind of a thank you to him for representing us, for marrying over 3,000 Americans before we thought it was okay to do it. So he was marrying people in 2007.
Wow.
And we decided it was okay in 2011. So again, friends with benefits, and this is just a little thank you to him for being a wonderful human being and being in our pocket and doing wonderful things for humanity.
Oh, I love this.
And there's no place like Pride Month at the Stonewall. There's no place like we celebrate. That's right, Leo. Show it.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. And I don't want to sound like a New York snob, but nobody does it like we do. Nobody. Yeah. And he should be here for that and celebrating Leo. That. What's the matter, baby? What happened?
I sat on that corner at the duplex on 7th and Christopher Street for the 50th anniversary and for World Pride. And I tell you, Marie can tell you, I was emotional that day. It wasn't just the alcohol. It was about seeing families.
Yes.
And people finally being freed, and they came to the Mecca where Stonewall is, where we fought and we threw that brick. And we, and it was amazing. Yeah, nobody does it. Girl, I've been to the LA Pride. I've been to the San Francisco Pride. Ain't nobody do it like New York City.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. We love all Pride across the country.
I partied at all of them.
Yeah, and especially now, for some reason, it's getting more and more difficult to just be who we are, which is very sad. And yet, I hope that it will awaken the activists in all of us again.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think
it does. I think it will. And that's why when people say, you know what, you could live so much better any other part of the country for what you bought your apartment for. You know what? I don't want to live large. I want to live effectively. That's what I want.
I love that.
This is the way we do it. We do it here.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about Monday. Monday is what is it? It's what time is the event?
Okay. We start at 5:00, but things are going to get rolling, and we kept enough time for things to go wrong and things to go right, and people to join the party because it's going to be one big party. We have David Rothenberg, who is going to be speaking, and a lot of people don't realize that he was Elizabeth Taylor's publicist.
Wow.
But later on in his life, he was. But there's so many wonderful things that are going to be coming on that night that I don't want to give my speech away because I have my intro for Harvey.
Yeah, of course.
But there's just going to be, and you who created just let me think of the 4 drinks: the Marvy Harvey,
right.
Love Wins.
Right.
Wait a second, don't tell me, Maria.
I won't. I love this.
The Brownstone.
Yep.
And Justice for All.
Yes. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So.
Oh, come on.
Well, listen. When Laurie Towers says, "What do you think about creating a cocktail menu?" You step to it.
Oh, baby, you always do.
I was very inspired by Harvey, and so it was easy. It was easy, and we'll get to thank him. But now, is it open to the public, or is it just?
Absolutely.
I love
that. Gary and I were talking. Gary, Lynn Floyd was speaking today, and he was coming up with different things. He goes, "We're going to have a lot of people there." I said, "I don't want to see the pretty Maria's face across from me. I want to see a sea of heads."
Yeah.
That's what I want for this night, and it's really, I have a feeling it's going to be that.
Yeah, and what a way to kick off Pride Month, right?
It's the best. It's the best.
And at the Stonewall of all places.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be wonderful.
Okay, so if you are in the area, we hope that you will stop by. And there's so many trains right there. You have the number 1 Christopher Street stop station, or you can get off at 14th Street and walk down. Then you have the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Yeah.
Stop at West Fort, so you can get out there. And it's 5 to 9, and then we have a show after that. And you can certainly stick around for that. Sure. But it's going to be a wonderful night, and we're very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And, and come, drink some drinks, listen to some amazing stories, and be inspired, and take some pictures.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool. And we don't, what I always am so in awe of is that we are living history now. Like, someday we'll be able to say, you're not going to believe where I was when this happened, or who I got to meet, and Harvey's one of those guys, and Gary's one of those guys, and you two are amazing.
Thank you.
Come on, I love introducing you to people, because people thank me afterwards, like at my birthday, and everybody's like,
what a time
that was fun, right?
Yes.
I love them. Oh my God, they're so cool. They're so
your friend was so nice that we met.
Terry Ross. They met Terry Ross.
Wonderful.
And you would love her husband, Steve. He's an old drummer from way back. He's an accountant.
She was saying, right.
But he's Harriet and I were talking about tonight about, like, some people, they do their jobs they do, but they're always creative. And Steve's one of those guys. And Terry's an amazing jewelry designer. So, and singer and things like that. Okay, so we have 5 minutes left to our show. I also want you two to talk about your radio shows, because you are, I call you music historians.
Oh, it's really him. I just make quips and tell him when to stop.
Is he the guy? Is he the one that does it?
And you know that, Leo. You know what I'm talking about.
And Leo is like...
You both are a plethora of history. You both...
Yeah, so much. Listen, they have Swifties that go to this. Now they call them Swifties, right? Taylor Swift. But you are like a Towers Pietro kind of like rabid fan, right, Leo? I mean, we all are, but Leo is like a groupie.
I love him.
I'm a groupie. I'm a groupie now.
Definitely a groupie.
He's really lovely.
Leo writes in on the comments board, but he's in good company. We've got Jill Croson, the singer-songwriter, also writing
the Bush Tetras. Everybody's there, which is really nice.
George Wallace is makes an appearance. They take things that I listened to in college, and you bring them back. The other day, you were playing some poetry for me that as a cool hip kid in college, I was like, yeah, I'm listening to this, and you brought. There's a couple of things that have come, and it just takes me back and reminds me. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember the anger. I remember the fire of this piece when I was younger. I have to keep remembering it, and. A lot of the poetry, like you said, Maria, it's being a little difficult. It's coming back again. What we said 30 years ago is 40 years, unfortunately, we're having to repeat. But the words are there. The samples were set for us. Exactly. And you guys do a great job of reminding us that with all the music and the...
Thank you.
Man, when you guys start with the Ramones, I'm always like, yeah.
Well, tomorrow night is actually
It's eccentric behavior, and actually, I platform all women, and I have Harriet. She sent me a track that's going to be the opening intro tomorrow night.
Cool.
So that's going to be a surprise. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's ladies drink free tomorrow night. So
I love it. That's so cool. And you know what? To go back, in a weird way, sometimes you have to go back to just remember where you came from.
I agree.
There are generations and generations that they kind of sort of know that there was some history with something somewhere, but they never lived it. And then all of a sudden, history, of course, as we know, as people that have been around, it does repeat itself. And if we can't ever rest on your laurels historically or human rights wise, right? So now we've slid back a little bit, not we, but, there's a movement to pull us back. And I think that, this new generation, which I was the first to say, I've changed my mind. They are wide awake.
And they're tolerant and accepting, and that's
but
exactly
they're also
what we need.
they're fighters.
Yes,
They're fighters, and I do feel like
the kids know. I remember. I think a couple generations ago, we're going like, we have to really think about that, and we have to get in on it. And nowadays, it's like, well, why are you questioning that? Well, what's the problem with them loving each other? I don't understand. And now they're understanding the fight because they assume love is love. Really, it comes from the kids. And they're now saying, wait a minute, you can't do that. That's not fair. All you're talking about is not fair.
Right.
As much as we don't want to be called boomers over and over again.
I like it. I love
right.
it. For me, go ahead, call me a boomer.
I agree with you.
I love our generation. And you two really highlight so much of the music of that time and how important it was. And, and the poetry, John, and all that. Like, I don't care. You call me a boomer all you want. We were the cool kids, and we still are.
There you go.
I think so.
I think so, too. And, now the kids are jumping on that. I do want to give a shout-out to more people who have joined us. Ed Kutu from Blade Salon in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Boomers Rocky, says Eddie. And Suzanne Mason has joined us. Leah Sutton has joined us. Lovely Leah Sutton, who you would love. Leah was a manager in New York City in the late 70s, early 80s, 90s.
Oh, wow.
And amazing. She was Mario Cantone's manager.
Oh,
yeah. And so I knew Leah really well. And just an amazing person. She's in Miami now, but just a great person. So John Savino's joined us. Andy Presky says, Rosebud seems to get more poignant as I get older. It's a lesson in lyric imaginary. Yeah, so many things, if you revisit them, are kind of like so cool again, right?
Yes.
You know, so I love that.
That's the thing about the great songwriters, including yourself, Maria, that you've had on. Your lyrics are timeless. The right songs don't matter when they were written. If they strike the nerve and they hit us, I've got privilege of singing one of yours that just struck me when we talked about it, and it's essences of those that are put into the song that carry on.
Yeah, but you know what? As I was asking Harriet, do you ever hear one of your songs done and then you hear it differently? Because like when Leo did one of my songs in a show, and I did hear it differently because the message, what he was singing about was very different than what I originally wrote it for. But I was emotional listening to it, as I'm sure Harriet gets with her songs, because you're like, oh, wow, like there's a new spin on it and I think Gary is going to do that on Monday night. He's going to, do Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady from his point of view, which is so amazing, right?
It's a very interesting spin. And, that's the beauty of it. I love the fact that I'm yours. It certainly is an anthem for coming out, but I was listening to it over and over again. And you know what? That dialogue that we have with our parents, disappointing them, I think everybody could relate an aspect to that.
You know what? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is a saying that says, if you're hysterical, it's historical. Meaning, if you have a super charged reaction to something. It's because it comes from your childhood.
That's exactly right.
You know, and I love that. And it, just so many things like that we can't, you can't deny. You know, and then there's a line from the Larry Kramer play. I'll think of it in a minute. But one of the lines in it is this gentleman, he loses his lover to AIDS in the story, and the mother has come to town, and she's always judged their relationship. And the lover says, I wonder how many of us live in this godforsaken town because we were afraid to disappoint our parents.
Yeah.
And, you know, it always gives me chills because so many people had to run away, you know, and so when I listen to that song, you know, I'm yours, it's very emotional, you know. I think most of us will identify with that. So
Sure.
that's really beautiful. Okay, so I want to thank John and Laurie.
Thank you, darling.
Oh my God! Listen. I was thinking today. I was going to text Laurie back about something, but I was driving over the GWB, and I said, "You know what? I'm just going to call her and see."
I saw your pretty face on my phone. No better way to start the morning.
Oh my God! Thank you, honey. And I thought, you know what? How cool would it be if she came on and told us what's happening Monday night?
Thank you.
John, you're like an extra bonus.
Yeah, I'm a hanger on. That's
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Why not? You hang around with cool people, you know? Yeah, you get so that's good.
We keep good company.
You really do. I love it. Okay, so thank you. Sean says, great show. Congratulations on 300. Yes, this is our 300 episode. We're so excited about that.
Wow.
We want to thank everybody that listens every week. Remember, you can find us in Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. In podcast, our friend Jim Bell does all that for us, and we appreciate him, so we want to thank him. Leo Rodriguez, what would I do without my sidekick? How cute is he? John and Laurie, we want to thank we'll see Harvey on Monday, but watch. How do people watch Harvey's show?
He's on YouTube, Harvey Brownstone interview. So just Google that; it takes you right to it. And
I've watched a bunch of them
right there on the page.
Who hasn't been on his show? I mean, come on!
Wonderful.
That list is amazing of the guests that he's had.
Yeah. So go to YouTube and check out Harvey Brownstone interviews.com.
Yes.
Okay, and Leo, thank you to Harriet Schock, who is
Speaking of Harvey.
Yeah,
He's there.
Thank you,
He
Harvey.
says thank you, Maria and Leo.
We're very excited to.
Come on.
So we will see Harvey on Monday. Thank you, Leo.
Yes.
Thank you, Laurie and John. Thank you, Harriet. Thank you, listeners. We love and appreciate you. Good night.
Good night, baby.
Bye. Peace.
Let me end this.